Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, host of the Riderflex podcast and founder and CEO of our day job recruiting firm, Riderflex. We hope you enjoy this episode. And as a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast for updates and news. Finally, if you haven't already, check out the series of books we've published on hiring, interviewing, and overall career advice titled The Riderflex Guide, available on Amazon. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Most homeowners don't have the time or expertise to properly take care of their home, which causes costly issues to arise. That's where Kira Home Maintenance comes in. We're a full-service, routine maintenance company that was developed by a certified home inspector. Each quarter, we service our clients' homes following manufacturer's recommendations to properly maintain all the necessary appliances. We provide the materials and expertise to prolong the life of your property, creating a healthy and efficient environment for your family. From top to bottom, we'll maintain and service your home. To get started, we have a property inspection to determine what needs to be maintained, and a maintenance plan is created based on your preferences. From refrigerator coils to filters, vents, and drains, we do it all, and we do it well. Contact us today for your free routine maintenance inspection, and never worry about your maintenance again.
You ready to roll?
I'm ready.
All right. Robin, thank you so much for being on the Riderflex podcast. I appreciate it, sir.
I appreciate it too. Thanks for the invite.
Are you in the Bay Area or overseas, Paris, London? Where are you?
I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in the San Francisco city near the Painted Ladies, if you want to know. They're just like there, a couple of like in the same block.
Gotcha. Okay. But where are you from originally?
I'm from France originally, and I moved here a year ago.
Okay. All right. Your accent, of course, is there, but not as thick as I thought it would be. Not as strong as I thought it would be. Wait.
I appreciate it. After a year, I want to keep that accent. So first, when I moved here, I was thinking about hiring a coach and just get rid of the accent. And then I realized it's part of the, of me. And I think part of what makes me a bit different as well. So, and also like so many projects, and then you have to prioritize. So I never even looked up coaches and just rolled with the accent.
Plus, it's got to help with are you single or are you married?
I'm married.
I was gonna say it probably helps with the social life too. You get the accent, you just.
I'm married to a French woman, so she doesn't really care.
Oh, okay, all right. You were married before you moved over, then?
No, I moved here and then we got married here.
Oh, yeah. Wow!
It's a whole story.
Wow! How'd you meet her? And what's her name?
Mathilde.
Okay, what were you like at a bar and you're like, wow, there's another girl from France. Holy crap.
No. We moved here together. So we were already together and then we married.
Okay. I see.
But we've been together for a few years.
All right. How'd you guys meet?
Through a common friend at my flat. So it was my roommate at the time. He organized a lunch. And then she went after, she runs a lot, so she went after a trail race, and that's how we met.
All right. Yeah. And you started dating. You said, "Hey, by the way, I got news for you. I'm moving to the U.S."
No, it took a few years. So actually, I moved here the first time in 2020 from January to March with HireSweet, the company. We went through an accelerator called Y Combinator based in Mountain View.
Okay.
So I moved here, and the plan was always to expand in the US, even though we created a company in France.
I see.
And then so I was like, okay, we gotta move. It took 3 years, but we moved eventually.
How do you like it?
I love it. Yeah, it's everything expected, and then some.
Now, for those of us that don't live in the Bay Area, all we see is the negative social media and the negative news, like, oh, the Bay's turning into shit and whatever. I mean, is that true? Is that true? Or is it still great? Or what is the stat? What's the real story, Robin?
there is a narrative about the downward spiral in San Francisco, especially the Bay Area. I was here, so I only lived here in 2020 from January to March, so 3 months. It's hard to tell. There is definitely a difference. So there was a before and after the pandemic, and that's for sure.
Okay.
Not everything is perfect in the city, obviously. So some of the things that you see are real. But overall, it's a great city to live in. More people, so it's definitely changed over the past 6 months. So I see more people coming in and more new joiners to the city. The city itself has a great vibe. The weather is amazing. The outdoors are amazing. There's great, amazing people. So that's obviously negative sides to it, and I think it can only get better from here. And then we can already see some improvements on those negative sides. But the positive sides, they'll always be here. And there's a great crowd. Again, great city, outdoors, the weather. Yeah. So there's a lot to love.
And what do you like? What are two or three things that you really love about the US versus France?
I really thought about this yesterday. I went to both my sisters came to visit me from France to the US the last 2 weeks. So I spent a lot of time together, and we went to the San Francisco Symphony. And we watched the Beethoven Symphony the day that she came, so she was a bit jet lagged. Anyway, yesterday I got a cold call from the San Francisco Symphony from a guy that was clearly trying to sell me the annual subscription or something like this. And I was like, okay, I love this country for this. Like, there's this culture of both service and selling and hustling that you don't get in France.
Interesting.
And coming from France, you'll learn a ton. Like in France, you would go to the Paris Symphony, nobody would care about you, nobody would call you for sure to sell you an annual subscription. So like it's a different mindset that I really like. That, and also another thing that I learned a lot is about how extroverts people are, and how to strike like casual discussions in the streets or with your neighbors. That's not something you do in France. I don't know why. Maybe partly, at least in Paris, because there are so much people. So you always bump into other people. So everybody's very tense. You definitely not strike up a casual conversation in the street with a stranger. And also part of the culture. I don't know, but that's something that I really enjoy here as well.
Okay, very good. Now, as a kid growing up, I always heard the French were the reputation I always heard was they were a little bit snobby. Now, is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. That's you get the reputation you deserve in some ways, and that's exactly what I'm saying, right? You go to the symphony and nobody really cares about you, even like, same for those chit chat. Yeah.
But meanwhile, we're just a bunch of wild cowboys over here. They probably think we're just a bunch of wild cowboys. What do they think about the U.S. citizens?
All right. That's a tricky one. What do we think about U.S. citizens? That so there is something that can come across as hypocritical in France. Like the cliche is that US people are always excited, always happy about things, to the extent that in France it might seem fake because people are not like this at all. So that's kind of a cliche. Okay. That's definitely not right, not true, and it's a misunderstanding of how people communicate. But exactly, because you can talk to a stranger in the street and then just go separate ways and never hear about that person anymore. And in France, that would be, well, this person talked to me for 15 minutes and no, she disappeared. So she's kind of a hypocrite because we're not friends after all, or something like this, like a different relationship to friendship. And then that everything is bigger, that like people are excited about like bigger things, go home, and everything is bigger. But that's more on the positive side.
Okay. All right. Any kids?
Nope. A dog.
Okay. A dog. All right. All right. Very good. And what'd your folks do for a living, and where do they live now?
What do you mean? My
Your
family?
parents. Your
Oh,
parents.
my
Yes.
parents. They live in France. My mother, they both kind of retired, even though not exactly. My mother was a teacher and then inspector to the teachers,
Oh,
and my father works in like real estate, different things. He went on to do. It was kind of an entrepreneur, even though he, yeah,
okay.
entrepreneurship. So now he's in
Okay.
real estate, basically. And
Okay.
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. Were you a good kid, straight A student, rebel, in trouble? What kind of kid were you?
All of them. I was a very good kid, a bit of a rebel.
Got in a little trouble? Did you ever get arrested?
No, did you?
I've never been arrested, but
But
I will tell you, there were many times I should have been. You know what I mean?
why? Why exactly?
Probably mainly DUIs. I probably should have had a lot of DUIs when I was younger. I
Mm,
mean, just way too. I mean, yeah, I could have went to jail so many times. I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I never did any like real crimes, right? Drove around with cannabis a little bit when I was in college here and there, but nothing like I didn't rob any banks. But no, never was arrested. So you didn't get in any major trouble.
No, no major
Okay,
trouble that I
all
think
right.
of. But I was always a bit of a rebel.
What are you?
But also a good kid, deeply, and
Most
also
entrepreneurs.
a pretty good student as well. So
Okay, most entrepreneurs have a little bit of a cocky rebel streak, a
mhm,
little bit, right? You got to have a
exactly,
little bit of that, right? I mean,
exactly.
for the most
Yeah.
part.
I
Okay,
would, you know, I as a teacher, I wouldn't like to have myself as a student. But once you get past it, you can. I believe it could be quite enjoyable. But like in some classes, I wouldn't listen at all to the teacher and would just do my stuff, but still learn the topic. So yeah,
very good.
tricky is a good
Okay.
name, a good word.
Did you know what you wanted to do when you were in college? Did you have kind of a general idea? What was the plan?
Um, so the original plan was when I was a kid was to be an engineer and
Okay.
to work on rocket ships. That was the
Really?
idea. Like I don't
Okay.
know why
All
how I
right.
came
I like that. Okay.
upon this. Maybe like a friend's father was doing this. I don't even remember, and that stuck with me for a long time, like up to when I was like 12 or 14.
Okay.
Then absolutely no idea about what I wanted to do, but more of how I wanted to live. So I wanted to travel, um, and that's kind of how I ended up deciding on my field of studies in university. Yeah, and pretty early on, I was very interested in startups. The startup scene was very nascent, especially in France. So there
Oh,
weren't a lot of startups, but I was very interested about this as early as like very early. I was also very interested in finance and following up with the news. It was like
okay.
16 when there was the financial crisis, so that
All right.
a lot of impact. And I already had a small portfolio before the crisis,
Oh,
so I was already interested in stocks. And in the end, I ended up working as an intern for a year in a bank,
I
the
saw. Yeah.
second largest German
Cool.
bank, the Commerce Bank, and
Yeah.
then creating a first company. So I was always interested about both. But deeply, it was deeply what I think I like is creating stuff, like creating things from the ground up, not so much scaling things.
Okay. Why recruiting? Why this industry that we're in, by the way? I mean, I'm sure you know, but I'm sure you know that we have the podcast, but Riderflex is a recruiting firm, right? That's our day job.
I
And
do
then we
know,
have the
yeah.
yeah, how the hell did you get into this life?
um, we so I also used to play a lot of rugby.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay. Cool.
in
Are you a big guy?
final,
What size
no,
are
no,
you?
no, 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 not yeah. I'm let me do in meters. I'm a meter and 82 centimeters. So it's like
Yeah.
6 feet or 6'3" or something like this.
Oh, you're 6'3". You're 6'3". That's
Is
pretty
it
tall.
6'3"? No. Let me check.
That's I don't 6'3" is pretty big.
No. I'm not 6'3". I'm 6.
6 foot. What?
I'm 6.
6 foot 200. 6 foot 180.
180. 182.
Okay, that's not a big rugby player. That's
No.
not big.
And I never was I said I played a lot. I never said I was a very good rugby player, but I played a lot. I really enjoyed it.
All right, cool.
And then so I did, when I was a student, I did the first internship. 2 first internships were again work in finance. Then started a first company, kind of I'll call it a company because it was a company, but we were at a maximum 5 people. It was called Jugger, and it was a marketplace for remote services. So kind of into recruiting.
Okay. Okay. All right. How far along did that one get revenue wise? How far did you get?
So originally the idea was not to charge and to have some kind of virtual currency that people can exchange on the platform. So that was the idea. So I'm a designer. I'll design the logo for you. I get 3 hours worth of currency, and then I can use those 3 hours worth with another person to get a translation or something like this. That was the idea.
Well, this is way before crypto got way before.
It was. Yeah, it was.
How about that? Wow. Did you so it was still in development phase, so to speak?
Yeah, we had a small community of a few hundred people, but it wasn't never really active. And then in the end, we realized that the free money thing was a limitation, so we made it like a regular paying thing. And then in the end, we ended up dropping the project.
How did you do that and eat and pay rent at the same time? Because I'm guessing you weren't paying yourself. What did you have another job?
That's the thing. Yeah, I used to give a lot of. I was a teacher in a private school at the same time.
Okay, there you go.
And I made much more money out of this than the main thing. And then at some point, you're like, okay, why am I focusing my energy here while I'm making so much money on the side?
I like to ask that question because a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, they listen to the show, and one of the questions is always like, how did you live? Like, how did you eat? How did you pay rent while you were doing that?
Yeah.
I see.
So I used to work, and I am a friend of mine went as an exchange student abroad, and I just took his room. So I lived with his mother for 6 months. So I didn't have to pay rent. I just like cooked things and cleaned the flat and tried to be the perfect roommate. And then did a lot of teaching as well. So every weekend I would go and teach for the entire weekend.
And something happened. There's a pivot or a turn in here somewhere that pushes you towards recruiting. What's the moment?
That was actually a gap year, and then I ended up going back to school for a year, and that's also why I dropped this. Okay. Met with Ismail. Well, first Paul, my co-founder, and then Ismail. The original idea was we went through that common track with different schools, focus on entrepreneurship. The original idea was, and back to rugby, that we could be free on Tuesday and Thursdays to go to the rugby training, and that tracked a lot for this. And then in the end, we started working together for a main project that was based on Ismail's expertise first, and it was an assessment software for companies hiring software engineers. Okay, so that's how we got started.
All right.
And then Ismail did a lot of competitive programming. He was a medalist in the French team for the International Olympiads in Informatics, which I didn't know existed. But and then he was coach for the French team.
Okay. And
so he already had a lot of expertise doing this kind of like assessing. I'm trying to get a better lighting here.
Your light, sun's starting to come down on you. That's all right.
It's actually super sunny.
If you need to change the shade or whatever you need to do is totally fine.
Yeah, let me try this.
Yeah, this is for the listeners. They're all used to this stuff. They know this shit happens all the time. It's totally fine. Yeah, it's all good.
How is it now?
Yeah, good.
All right. And so the original idea was to be available to go to the rugby trainings, and then we really got along together, started working on that first product. and quickly realized that most companies. So we had a product very quickly.
Okay.
Because again, Ismail's experience doing this, and we realized the biggest pain for companies wasn't assessing engineers, but just sourcing them. So basically top of funnel. And we're like, okay, well, why don't you just post jobs online and wait for applicants? That's how it works, right? Didn't really know about that. And that's when we started chatting with the first agencies and started discovering that there is an entire ecosystem here to help companies be more efficient at hiring, because the dynamics are sometimes inverted for some roles. So that's how we discovered.
Of course, when you started, just for the listeners, back 2016, 2017, software engineers especially, super high demand, super hard to recruit, super hard to get a hold of, walked on water. You know, we can talk about how that's changing now. But anyway, back then, I totally get it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and LinkedIn wasn't quite as good as today.
Yeah,
still not perfect, but back then it was like everybody had to do complex Boolean searches because the search was just not good enough.
It's true. Yep.
And even the market penetration wasn't as good as today. Like today, everybody's on LinkedIn, but 7 years ago, not everyone was on LinkedIn. So it was still pretty much like being on LinkedIn was a signal that you were looking for a job. So but that's when it started to shift. So we started with the first product that was really focused on top of funnel and sourcing for companies.
All right.
And then again,
as a SaaS, was it a SaaS CRM tool then, or you're just providing a service? There was no software.
So the first few months, even a few years, we did both. So we acted as an agency. We reached out to the candidates ourselves. And we also acted as a lead generation system where we provided the leads to the companies and then either engage the leads in their names or let them engage with the leads.
Okay. So and you had you built your own kind of homemade CRM system, or what were you using for ATS?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Okay. I remember, spreadsheets. I remember seeing the first ATS in 2017 or 2018. I remember it was Lever, and we went to one of our clients who were like, wow, that's amazing. That's the future. And at first we had nothing. We always had about a third of the team in the data science and software engineering side of things. So we always wanted to build our own thing and to have a very technological approach to it. But it took a lot of time. And fast forward to today, we have built like a lot of things, be it on the software or on the back end to match people with jobs, et cetera, but it took a lot of time.
Yes. So HireSweet, just so everybody knows, and let's get this in here real quick. HireSweet.com. So HireSweet is both an ATS triple ATS CRM / you will also serve as a recruiting agency. All three.
No.
Sorry.
Not exactly.
Sorry. You better
that's
do
very
a better
good.
job.
That's very good. But yeah, it's not exactly this. So our main core product is a kind of automated agency for companies hiring tech talent in France. So this one, if you come from outside of France, you don't even see it on the landing page. You have to change. So that's what we call the HireSweet Marketplace. And it's a kind of very similar to hire.com, where we go after candidates. We're like, okay, enroll to the marketplace, and next Monday, you'll be shown to our database of clients. And then the clients, we do the same. We're like, okay, connect, let's get connected next Monday, and you'll see the short list of people that we talk to that could be relevant to you. And we manage like this about 200 companies and 100 to 150 new candidates per week, and we connect them together. So that's the marketplace, and we charge a placement fee.
I see.
Our latest product is called HireSweet CRM, and you're right, the name will probably change at some point. But for now, it's not supposed to replace the ATS. It's really supposed to connect to the ATS and enhance the ATS on everything that's CRM-like features. So the best way to think of CRM-like features are anything that's inspired from sales. So how do you go after candidates? How do you nurture them over time? How do you send them newsletters and stuff like this? That most ATS like these features. So
will that allow me to cancel HubSpot so I don't have to use HubSpot with my
yes,
ATS?
HubSpot is a great inspiration.
Okay. All right. So right now at Riderflex, we use Jazz HR as our ATS, and then we use HubSpot as for other shit, sell stuff.
But they don't work together, right?
No,
they're not integrated.
No. So you have to kind of log into both. So what you're saying, so what you've built in could be integrated in, it's all together. It's all together. Yes. I could eliminate Jazz and HubSpot.
So yes, as an agency, you could eliminate both because we have some basic ATS features. Like you can post jobs online, you can manage inbound applicants. It's just not like as advanced as the state-of-the-art ATS is, especially for managing the interviews. But most agencies don't need this anyway. They just need a basic ATS and more advanced CRM features. So definitely, let's chat after this.
So how's your revenue split right now then? What's the makeup of the company? I don't know how much you want to share. I know some of that might be private, but what percentage it hits where?
Yeah, I can share a bit. The CRM is about 20% of our revenue.
Okay, good for you.
And the marketplace is 80%.
Okay. Yeah, but the CRM gets you more attraction from investors. Have you taken on any cash?
Yes, we have in 2017.
Yeah. Like it's like a seed or a series A or seed or angel. Where are you at with
1.5 million, so you can call it whatever you want. Yeah.
Good for you, man. Good for you. All right. Wow. Is that okay? Is that the only raise you've done? Or is that what you've raised in total so far?
No, it's what we raised. So it's what we raised in 2017. And then when we went through YC, they invested a bit, but I wouldn't consider it a raise.
Yeah. Did you have to give the YC? Did you have to give them a little piece? Did they get a little piece?
Yes. 7%.
How much?
It's public. 7%.
Man, sometimes you wake up at night. Sometimes you wake up at night and go, "How do I get that 7% back?"
Yeah. Well,
are you and your co-founder?
Worth it for us.
Was it okay? You and your co-founder still own more than 51%, or did you have to give up control with the 1.5?
No, we still own more than 50%.
Good for you. Awesome. How many people in the organization? How big is how many employees?
We're about 30 people.
Nice.
All including like contractors.
And, yeah. How many you got contractors in France and US? I guess you got them both.
Everybody's mostly in France. So I'm the only one in the US for now.
Okay. And you're in the US strategically for the Bay Area for investors, for what are your strategic reasons? Yeah.
Clients.
More
clients. Yeah. And also so it's not only signing clients and getting revenue, but also connecting with them, getting the vibe, understanding the expectations, because the markets are a bit different between, let's say, US and Europe more globally. So it's very helpful to be here, not only and then again to sell better, but also to understand the needs, right? So it's important to be here. Otherwise, we would have hired someone like a salesperson and have them move there. But I don't think this could have worked, especially at the stage we're at. We still rely a lot on our clients' feedback. We're very close to our clients. A lot of clients have shared Slack channels with us, so they can share their feedback as well. Yeah.
Who's your target client, roughly?
It used to be tech companies, and then, as you said, the market quite changed over the past 12 months.
Yes.
We're now going much more into agencies and staffing more broadly. We also talk to like various hospitals, networks, and like we can work with anyone. But I would say that for now we're very, very focused on more agencies and staffing.
How about trade skills? How about trade services, man? I tell you that's where some of these tech. We could do a whole podcast on this. The fact that the tech industry's got some hurdles right now, and probably more hurdles to come pretty quick.
Do you think? I would say that the worst was behind us, but what do you think?
You think? No? I mean, Hey, I'm not an expert. So first of all, let me just tell the audience, I'm not an expert. So I don't know shit. So don't listen to me. But if you want my opinion, yeah, I never thought that the speed at which white collar software engineer jobs would be in danger. I didn't think it was going to happen as fast as it did. I mean, I think you're a recruiter, you probably know this, but I'm pretty sure software engineer job postings are down like 60 or 70% compared to last year. And the layoffs are going to continue to be swift. I think the rapid advancement of AI should have software engineers very nervous right now. I would be very nervous. I'd be going back to welding school. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I don't know.
I don't know. I'd be curious to get the numbers if the job posting for software engineers
pretty sure.
decreased.
Double check me on that. Yeah, double check me on that. But I mean, yeah, for any of the listeners, double check me on that. But I think
I agree. And I feel people definitely lose some sleep over this. At least my friends, engineers friends, they do. But engineers created all these tools. True. And it's part of engineering to create tools to make yourself more efficient, but also in some ways replace yourself. So I'm not too sure they're to be worried about it.
Did you listen to the Mark Andreessen, founder of LinkedIn, right? He was on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple of months ago. Did you listen to that one?
Was it Mark Andreessen or Reid Hoffman?
No, it was Mark Andreessen. Yeah. And Mark was telling Joe, he was like, isn't it interesting how, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, everybody thought that the robots would replace the blue collar jobs, the blue collar jobs first, and that the white collar jobs were safe. And now the white collar jobs are a little bit nervous, and the blue collar guys are like, "Oh, we're fine."
Yeah,
I don't know how much of that's true. It'll be fascinating to watch it all play out over the next few years.
And it's crazy to see, back to San Francisco. It's crazy to see that it's probably easier to hire a software engineer today than a waiter
for sure
in a restaurant or
totally
a truck driver or
absolutely. I mean, we got a call the other day. A friend of mine, he's like, "Hey man, I need 5 electricians." Trying to get an electrician to answer the phone in Colorado, good luck. I mean, these guys got all the work they can handle. I mean, there's no. You as a recruiter, you better go on the job site and tap the electrician on the shoulder to talk to him if you want to get somebody's attention. These guys they're living the good life right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to HireSweet. So, what's your goal? Do you want to grow it and sell it? Do you want this to be a lifestyle business long term for you and your co-founder? What are you thinking?
Well, the outcome will probably be at some point to sell it. I don't plan on staying in this company for my whole life.
Because you want it, because you have the urge to do something else. You're a serial entrepreneur and you're going to want to start something.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many things to do. So, and I don't think you would, we wouldn't take external investors, for instance, if you didn't want to sell the company at some point or exit the company at some point. So it's not exactly the same type of company. If you're trying to create like your life's company and you want to stay there 23 years, probably don't give out as much equity. And then again, we mentioned the 7% to YC. So you just operate it differently. So that's definitely not the goal. The goal is to exit at some point. But no, we still have a lot to do. And I don't say that when we thought we were almost at the end of what we wanted to do, because there's always more that we want to do. But then the AI and generative AI wave is like, okay, we're back to square one and we have to rebuild everything. And there's so many options, so many things that we can do now that weren't possible 3 years ago that we know can
6 months ago.
6 months ago. Yeah. Right. So that's very exciting. So we still have more to do. And our clients are pulling us as well. People that use the product, they ask for more features, more things to do, and then they use the features. They're happy about the features, and it shows in their numbers and in their recruiting targets. So we don't really think about this now, and especially as the market is not as hot as it was a year ago. Like, we received interest from companies, and like everybody did a year ago, 2 years ago. It's very easy to think of it like, okay, I can just sell these companies and not work again anymore. It's definitely not the case today. So we have to keep working hard, and there is a lot to do as well. So that's the current mindset.
There's the life of an entrepreneur, folks. If you're listening to this episode, by the way, we're recording this on November 8th, 2023. It's so fascinating. Yeah, a year and a half ago, I think Scott and I were getting maybe one. He's my co-founder. We were getting probably one call a month with somebody like, "Oh, you guys ever thought about selling?" and stuff like that. And we're thinking our valuation number is this giant number. We have this fantasy valuation number. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, okay. As of November 8th, 2023, that's it's a different ball game.
Yeah. Not so many calls anymore.
The life of the entrepreneur, right? It's like, oh, exactly. Man, I was you're like, oh shit. Okay, yeah, things are changing. We better pivot here, pivot there, do this, do that. Yeah, totally.
What did you change yourself?
The first there's two things we're doing right now. The two biggest, I don't know if pivot's the right word, but the two biggest things I'm really trying to focus on is, number one, I think a lot of old school recruiters are moving too slow to grab a hold of AI tools that are available. And so the first thing I'm doing is getting my senior executive level recruiters to use the tools that are available and make sure the training is there to keep them up to speed, because, and some of them are contractors. So little different, right? If they're 1099, it's like, I can suggest what tool that you need to use, but sometimes I can't make them do certain things, right? With the rules with the employees. But I there's older recruiters. When I say older, I don't know, let's say somebody's been doing it for 25 years and there were just recruiters in their 50s or whatever. And you tell them, you're like, hey, there's this new tool, and you're trying to show them how to use this AI tool. And they're like, well, I have my process and I've always done it this way. And I'm like, oh my God, you're killing me. Like, so that's number one, is I'm getting my people to use the tools that are available to make them be able to be as fast and as efficient as possible, so they don't get left behind. That's number one. And number two,
how do you train them? Do you train them yourself?
Sometimes we do. Like we'll do recorded Zoom calls, and then my ops person, who's excellent, she will like do all the research on how to use that particular tool. And then we'll do a training session, and then we'll let them go back and watch it. Whatever it might be. That's kind of how we try to do it. Or I'll do a recording and I'll do share screen and I'll record it and be like, look, do this. Bup, 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 bup. I mean, here's a perfect example. And then I want to go to my second one that I was going to do, so I don't lose my train of thought. Here's a perfect example. I was on the call the other day, our team call, and I said, look, I actually don't think there's any such thing as a tech recruiter anymore. And somebody was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, tech recruiters used to interview software engineers, and they were called tech recruiters because they knew enough to usually know whether or not they were being lied to when they would ask certain questions during an interview about coding or programming or whatever. Like, they could sniff out the BS. Well, now any recruiter can get the questions to the coding and the testing and the programming ahead of time, stick it into ChatGPT, have ChatGPT give you the fucking answer, so that when you're asking the answer during the interview, any recruiter knows whether or not the programmer is lying. and somebody's on the call like, oh wow, great idea, put the interview questions into ChatGPT ahead of time, make sure these are just things. I'm like, come on guys, like, come on, man, you guys have got to stay on top of this stuff. I'm 56 years old, I'm staying on top of it. If you're 30 years old, you better sure as hell be on top of it. Anyway, I'm venting. Sorry.
That's what I was about to say. It's not about age, it's about mindset, because we
yes, mindset.
What's the second thing?
the second thing is what I touched on earlier, which is I'm pushing my sales team, which is really me and Scott. I'm pushing my sales team to focus on trade skills. I want to do more recruiting for construction, any service level trade skills, whether it's plumbers, electricians, construction, concrete, whatever. I think those will continue to be in high demand for longer. I think they're very difficult to get a hold of. They're difficult to recruit, and they're super high demand. And I think tech recruiting firms will continue to struggle to get business and new clients, because my belief is that tech companies are going to continue to lay off, and there'll be less hiring in that field. I'm not saying it's going to go away. I'm saying there'll be less. That I think that hot market is a little bit quiet for now, and so I'm pushing towards trade skills as much as I can. Those are the two things I'm doing.
Are companies used to work with recruiters and agencies?
Great question. Yeah, here's what I'm finding. I don't know what you know, but if you may know this too. The thing that you find about trade skills is if somebody's been hiring electricians for the last 20 years, like they're in that club, right? They're in that. They're part of the union. They know the union rep. They're this or that. They're this. They're super connected, and so tapping into that field is, I'm finding that like they're like, who are you? But we're working on it. We're working on it. I just think that's important to. I think it's important to diversify your approach towards industries if you are heavily in tech right now. That's my now. By the way, I could be totally wrong. Maybe tech is only soft right now while we're recording this, and maybe it's about to boom over the next 6 months. And that I could be totally off base. I don't know. That's just my read on the situation.
Anyway, especially agencies, they can't afford to just wait out for 6 months. So you have to do something. Even if it's just 6 months, you have to do something. You have to do something,
because none of us are like, I mean, you guys raised some cash, which is great, but 90% of the boutique recruiting firms out there, they don't have a bunch of cash in the bank.
Sure.
No. I mean, then the recruiters are going to go down and fill out an application at Home Depot and work down at Home Depot part-time because they can't get work. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Anyway, anyway, you got me. Now you're interviewing me. I can tell you have a podcast. Tell me about your podcast, by the way. Yeah, tell me about it.
I like interviewing better than answering questions. That's the thing. Yeah.
Tell me about your podcast.
The podcast is called The Modern Recruiter.
All right.
We launched it in 2020. Because like same as you said, we lost most of our revenue, still a lot of placement revenue, 80% lost in 2 weeks. And we lost all our searches. So we had nothing to do. Like, okay, we have nothing to do. Let's at least use that time to invest it in something. Someone said that will be valuable in the future. So that's when we started the Modern Recruiter. Back then it was called A Players.
Okay.
And it's been like 50 episodes or something like this.
How many?
And we're 50. Yeah.
Cool.
We're doing one every 2 weeks.
One every 2 weeks. All right. And are they an hour? Are they 30 minutes? What are you running?
They're 30 minutes.
Okay. And is it on Spotify? Is it everywhere?
It is. It's everywhere. The Modern Recruiter by Robin Choy. And we try and make each, so it's very different from yours. We try and make it much more less like a casual conversation and much more like a masterclass. So the person will speak for 30 minutes and talk about what they did and one specific project so we did a lot recently on AI, how you can use AI to do this. What are your favorite prompts? We did one on how to become more strategic as a recruiter. So stuff like this.
You know what I love best about the podcast is, and sometimes it gets me in trouble, I love that I can ask whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because because as
I wouldn't reply to all your questions over email. So
because as a recruiter, we have all these laws, right? Like, if we're recruiting a candidate, we can't ask them about their family. We can't ask them about their religion. We can't, can't ask them about there's all these rules we have to follow. Well, when I'm on the podcast, I can just ask whatever.
Yeah.
And I will
Do some
tell you,
people
Robin,
just decline to answer sometimes?
right. Sometimes. Or, well, what happens a lot of times is, no, most of the time they'll answer while we're talking. And then when I send them the draft, they'll be like, hey, can you cut that? They'll be like, that part where I was talking negative about my ex-wife and saying how crazy she was. Can you? And they'll like have me take it out.
My lawyer has to remove it.
But I do get in the habit of, like, I'll go from a podcast to a video interview of a candidate. And I'll have to be like, okay, hold on. I gotta make sure I'm following the rules here.
Yeah, but I like how yours is personal. You have to
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you have to make it personal, because that's what's interesting. People want to listen to humans.
Yes.
And like understand what's happening, the personal stories behind, and not so much like I did this and I did that and this worked and that. Because especially in the corporate world, you can get a lot of BS of everything is so shiny and successful, and we never had any problem, and we had it figured out from the first day 7 years ago, which is absolutely not the truth, and some people trying to connect the dots afterwards. So yeah, I like that format as well.
I've always said, being an entrepreneur takes balls. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's easy to just be an employee. I mean, going and getting a regular job like that. I mean, okay, I don't want to like piss off all of the regular employee people out there listening to the podcast, but I'm just telling you, no offense, like that's pretty easy. Like that's easy.
That's also the smart decision. You must be stupid.
That's true. That's true. It's probably smarter. It's probably smarter. It's safer.
It's
smarter.
Safer, it's smarter.
Is
in the long run.
It's because I never stop. I'm like you. Like I never stop thinking about the company, like ever. I don't. If I'm in the mountains of Colorado, I go camping in Colorado and Wyoming all the time. So I'm a big outdoor mountain guy. Even when I'm up there, Robin, trying to enjoy nature,
it's the best.
My mind is constantly
hiking, running. This is when you get the best ideas.
Oh,
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to stop all the time, and then
you said earlier your wife runs. I think you said your wife's a runner.
Yes, she is.
And how about you? Does she make you go along?
Yeah, I have to follow her. So I come from the southwest of France, from Bordeaux on the beach. So that's the
thing. Like everybody runs.
LA, the French LA. No, nobody runs. Everybody goes to the beach and goes to restaurants and stays up late.
Oh, okay.
She comes from the Alps, so that's the opposite.
Oh,
I learned skiing when I was like 20. She wasn't skiing when she was 6.
Interesting.
So she'd love to move to Colorado. Actually, she's heard great things about it. So
have you
pretty
been
happy about California? No, never.
Bro, if you come out, well, I'll be your guide. We'll connect. We'll
Let's
connect.
do it. Where are you based again?
Well, near Fort Collins, which I'm in the northern part, but still, that'd be cool if we could get together. So wrapping up here. What do you want to tell? So the list for the listeners, either you own a firm, you own an agency like Riderflex, and you could use HireSweet, right? So you could reach out, because you said that's one of your targets right now.
Yes.
Okay. And you might be able to eliminate the cost of like Jazz and HubSpot, maybe. And I'm guessing your stuff is cheaper than those two combined.
Yes. And it's also built specifically for recruiting. So HubSpot, for instance, you don't get a big profile view. You only get rows in the database, pretty much. Okay. Here you get the profile with the previous experience. You can see everything like on a LinkedIn card, basically.
And I like it. Okay. And candidates, they can go to your website, they can upload their profile. How does that work? No
candidates. It's only for people based in France, so they wouldn't listen to us.
Okay. All right. What about, you don't want to do candidate US based stuff? No,
not for now. The marketplace model, two-sided marketplace model, is very tricky to figure out. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure how we did it the first time. How we reached that scale. Well, I know how we did it, obviously, but it's not easy to replicate this in another country. It's very expensive because then you have to pay a lot for the candidate and company acquisition costs. So we're pretty happy about the marketplace being a profitable business, growing maybe much more slowly, and the CRM being a more like recurring, higher growth potential, higher scale potential product.
I was gonna. Sorry, I should have asked this earlier. Between you and your co-founder, it sounds like you're kind of sales and cash raise and investor relations, and he's ops and execution, and
we're actually three. So there is me, and that's right, like sales, investors, marketing. There is more the ops guy that manages the ops, the team, make sure everything flows correctly, admins and stuff. It oversees all of this, and then there's the tech guy.
I see.
Who's
Good combo.
Yeah,
nice combo. That's a good combo. That's a great combo to have.
It is. It's perfect. So there's no overlap, and
that works great.
And everybody has their area of expertise, and you remove one, and everything falls apart. Even though we're trying to make ourselves replaceable, obviously that should be the goal.
Yeah, if you can.
Which we're more replaceable than 7 years ago, obviously. But
yeah, I'd like to make cut myself. Anytime somebody wants to come run Riderflex, I'll retire right now. Let's call me if you hear this podcast. Robin, great to meet you, man. Really great to have you on the show. Congratulations on everything you and your co-founders have built. Really nice job, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll see you in person in Colorado then.